Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. We got this nice little double top we talked about last night. Bit of a pullback, very standard stuff here. Nothing to be over concerned with. I think the key takeaway here is that we want to make sure that we remain above our local point of control and macro point of control at 63,000. So I think as long as the daily candlestick continues to close above that level, we should be in good shape. We're going to pay attention to our money flow index as well as some back-end liquidation data too. So let's just double check that and start with that first. I do want to say a quick thank you to our community for some awesome feedback there. We got a nice polka dot long at 21%. I know a lot of people call it a terrible coin, and I would agree in some cases, but yeah, still an easy coin to trade. Same thing with ICP, 53%, Cardano, 44. The list goes on. We've been taking some decent profit. Honestly, could have taken more. There was so much opportunity yesterday. It was hard to find really good ones that weren't running, that were primed and ready to go. By the time I figured out, a coin that was ready to rock and roll, it was already doing so before I could send out the signal. So that will happen sometimes, folks. Market moves, whether you like it or not, faster oftentimes than we want it to. So anyway, hit the like button, comment below. I deeply appreciate that. Help grow the channel. Thank you again so much to everybody for just being an awesome, amazing part of my life. Thank you. Let's take a look here. 65 to 66,000. We can see here pretty solid amount of liquidation, some late shorts and previous shorts here. We zoom out and in a little bit more. We can see pretty heavy concentrations here. 65,000, 66. Each one of these bars is about somewhere between 6 to 9 billion in liquidation. So I counted it up before. Last night it was somewhere in the range of about 80 billion. I think it's plus or minus right now, but pretty close. So we can see that. And we saw some previous levels here. Look at that here, about another 8 to 9 billion, swept at 64,800. So the price moves up to 66,000. Some people are going to have some pretty bad days, all right? So I don't think you should be shorting Bitcoin right now. There's a tremendous amount of reasons not to, and I'll explain here in a moment what I mean by that. So let's take a look here at the daily time frame, kind of work our way down. And bear in mind too, I always look at the weekly when the week starts. So if you're curious about that, just tune in on Mondays. I generally cover a little more deeper on Mondays, but the quick and easy synopsis here is that we are retesting our 0.618 fib levels here, pretty consistent. We got our point of control at 63,000. We got a pretty good situation here overall, being above that level and continuing to ascend. You could even argue that this is like an ascending channel, which are typically very much on the bullish side. So again, I think that we're probably more likely to see the price continue further up here. At the very least, one last leg up to 66K to destroy some of those shorts and maybe work its way back down to a local support, or consolidate at 65K and continue higher. There's a couple different scenarios, of course. Honestly, you could probably say there's thousands of scenarios, which is absolutely true. No one really knows, but the difference is here that most things are looking very, very bullish. Let me explain. So moving averages here, right? We closed above the 200 SMA, and as I mentioned last night, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That doesn't mean you just go balls to the wall with a long position because you're over the 200. The important thing is that we're above every single other simple moving average, and the 200 is the last line of defense to the upside. That, concurrent with the 0.618 fib level, does increase the resistance level. However, we've seen a decent amount of money flowing into Bitcoin. As we can see here, money flow index is extremely high. As that continues to go up, that's a good average, kind of letting us know in the last 14 days we've seen money flowing into this coin and not out of it. Now, once it starts tapering off, that's not going to be the end of the world either. But at this point, you never trade against high money flow index, and the inverse applies too. If it's down in like the 20 range, you don't try to short into that either. It makes no sense, or you don't go against the grain really. And right now, the grain is going up, letting us know that there's more likelihood we have a higher propensity of further upside. All that combined, trend strength is good. Money flow index is great. RSI is right there at that sweet spot, in my personal opinion. I love trading coins between 50 and 70 in the RSI on the 4-hour and the daily. It's just kind of that sweet spot. I especially love breakouts on the 4-hour time frame as well, which some coins are seeing right now. Like SEI, we identified a bull pennant pattern yesterday before it broke out. That's one of those coins I missed an opportunity. Really a little frustrating there. I could have got in at 38 cents to just continue to run. But, again, that's how trading is, folks. You're not going to catch it all. I rarely get upset by missing opportunities, but, that was definitely one of those. So just know you're not alone in feeling the FOMO. It's a very real thing. But the key takeaway is to not fall into it. If you're starting to feel like crazy and like, oh my God, I totally missed everything, go take a walk, take a breath, relax, it's okay. There's tons of opportunity in the market. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of coins, all right? So take a look here of the 4-hour time frame. We want to respect the fact that we're still above the 20-day SMA, 50-day SMA. They're all getting kind of closer to the price action. So if we do end up breaking below that level, we may want to have a different conversation. We may see a slight divergence to the local support in this level here at about 60 to 60.5. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but we got this 0.618, this golden pocket here. This is more local fib levels, by the way, whereas we looked at our macro fibs here. We're looking at the local Fibonacci retracement, basically telling us in this trend, if we see a pullback, 60,500, that's right there in the middle of that golden pocket, that would be the worst case scenario. I feel 60.5 and 62.5 are two really important areas to consider taking along. Okay, so again, if we see 62.5, I'm actually going to be happy about it because that's an area of interest, and so is this too. Anyways, foresight, future reference. It's not going to be the end of the world if we lose those moving averages, but it's definitely something we want to kind of, your eyes should open a little more when you see that happen. You can't just be like, everything's going to the moon, right? I mean, even if that is the case, you still got to respect it, right? So anyways, we're over 50 on the RSI. Stochastic's pulling back. Money flow index is lower than the RSI. That's telling us we have some weakness, but once more, that weakness is just the general consensus that the price action hasn't broken through this resistance level and is pulling back for a natural, which kind of appears to be a cup and handle. Again, this is a bit of a stretch. Again, smaller time frames, you don't necessarily utilize that, but what we want to talk about here is this guy right here, just to quickly clarify. And just so you kind of understand, we could very well be in the beginning of something like that, right? Again, just throwing it out there, that's not necessarily the case. I really just think in general that, patterns on smaller time frames don't make a ton of sense, but what we want to look at, of course, is some other things here too. So let's take a quick peek at the Ichimoku cloud on the hourly, wrap it up here for you. We can see we're above the cloud, which is good. Lagging spans kind of within the price action. Conversion line and baseline are intersecting. Really just implying that it's not really ideal trading conditions, which makes sense, right? We're in a range. Until we break free from the range, you really shouldn't trade it at all, which is why we've been focusing more so on altcoins versus Bitcoin as a trade. Once more, waiting for that pullback to get in at a better price point, if that even happens. Price breaks out, maybe we get a bullish back test of the 64K range, the price continues higher, that might be a consideration to go along. But until we actually close above the 64.4 range, I don't think it's appropriate to consider a long position just yet. But most things on the macro and the 4-hour time frame are telling us we're in very, very good shape, right? So it really just tells me that we're looking good. Until money starts flowing away from the coin on larger time frames, I don't think we have anything to really worry about at this point. Again, that's just my personal opinion. If the price does pull back to 62.5, 61.5, 60.5, those would be welcoming entries, specifically 60.5, because there is a pretty significant fair value gap here, down between about 62 and 60.5K. All right, so I'll highlight that on our playout chart. As per usual, those are available here, Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I want to say thank you to whomever have been liking my my Twitter posts or my X posts. Really appreciate that. That's kind of a big deal here. Finally getting some love, so appreciate that. Anyways, thanks again so much, everybody. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have yourself a great rest of your day. Thanks again. Take care.